to another episode of Confidence Culture Conversations. Coach Kirubai, how are you?
I am well, thank you, Elizabeth. It's been an eventful week, but you know what? We are here, we are on the go, and we want to empower people with our next topic, which is your biggest mistake is not asking what mistake you're making. And I was just pondering about the mistakes I have made in my life, and I've never sat and I think it kind of works with reflection. But before we go on to the subject, how are you, Elizabeth?
Me, I'm good. Just busy, but good.
Busy is good. Busy is good. Busy is good. And yeah, busy is good. We are always working with our hands and working on our business, which is amazing because we set a tone for the week and then we go.
That's it. You just have to keep going.
Let's keep going. Yeah. And yes, so it's been eventful since last week. It's been eventful, but I hope it will slow down. Been having lots of guests coming to the house, having dinners and cooking. The norm of a so-called housewife who's trying to wear many hats.
See you.
So it has been busy, but busy
Mhm.
is good. So, shall we jump into our topic this week? This today?
Yes, why not? Why
Yeah,
not?
yeah. So, hey, no, before we, I always want to know about Janaya's birthday. How was it?
Oh, her birthday was lovely. So, one of the things she really wanted was a bicycle.
Okay,
So, mommy and daddy eventually managed to find a bicycle,
okay,
which was really good. So it was a nice surprise, but not so much a surprise. So yes, she wanted it, but she didn't know if we had gotten it
okay. So,
until that very morning when it appeared in front of her.
so you hid it away. You put it away for her. She could be very inquisitive, wanting to know what mommy and daddy has got for her birthday.
We managed to hide it somewhere in the house the day
Mhm.
before.
Okay.
And then when she went to bed, we were blowing up balloons and doing stuff. And then, we put it somewhere where she could see and just
Mm,
like put balloons around it. And yeah, that's what she walked into in the morning.
lovely.
So that was good. So yeah, it was good.
So she had a good birthday, and she was enjoying her surprise. I think we have the element. We all love an element of surprise in our lives.
That's it. And you know what? She also wanted to go. She wanted to do something with her friends.
Oh, in at
So we
school.
managed to put something together. So we were in the park on Saturday with a group of like four-year olds,
Okay.
which was quite nice. So some 4-year olds and their parents, so some friends from school. So that was really nice, and thankfully the weather behaved
Hmm.
itself.
Yeah, it
There
was
was
good
no
weather.
rain. It was nice, and they got to play. We had some cake, we had some drinks, we had some snacks. It was fun. It was a good
Okay.
day. It was a good
So
day.
Janaya had a beautiful birthday. I mean, it was not only just on that day, but she had a extended birthday, which was lovely.
She did, and she wanted it to go on. I was
Oh.
like, no, September is over. Your birthday's over.
Kids and their fantasies and the things that they love to do. Well, we
Mm,
were kids once upon a time.
true.
Yeah. But you know what? Till today, I love an element of surprise.
Mm.
So, we all love that part of surprise. So now finally we go into our topic. So it's quite a sobering topic, but I thought about reflecting on our mistakes. Yeah, it's a long talk. It's the title is quite long. Your biggest mistake is not asking what mistake you're making. But
Mhm.
you know what? It all boils down to the fact that is, you make your mistakes, you reflect, and then you don't make the mistake again and move on, progress.
That's it.
Yeah. So we're talking about the progressive part of the and what are the mistakes we have made and how we are progressing, which builds our confidence overall.
Hmm.
And so I want to oops, sorry, can you see me?
I can see you. There was some freezing going on, but I think I can see you.
Okay, sorry, I just kind of accidentally touched something. So you know this phrase that says um ignorance is bliss. You know, it's an old saying that goes, but in this case, ignorance is not bliss because
Mm,
you need to know where you have erred.
that's it. You do.
But a lot of people do not know where they have made their mistakes.
They don't know or they don't want to admit it.
Ah, that's a good point to bring out. I think consciously they know, definitely, Elizabeth. You know, consciously we have God has given us a conscience, and for those who are in the faith, we have the Holy Spirit. Yeah, I think there's always a prompting, but I like what you said. They wear blinkers and do not want to know. You know, so what do you say about that? I mean, I've been in situations where I knew it was wrong, but I entered into it. You know, there was prompting to not go into it, but I went into it, and and then the mistake became a bigger mistake.
Mm.
Hmm. So that prompting is very important.
No, do you know what? Absolutely, it's very true, and it's when you mentioned how the mistake can go into something bigger. It kind
Mhm.
of reminds me of when somebody tells a lie or a white lie,
Mhm.
and the lie seems to grow bigger and bigger and bigger over time.
Mhm.
Initially it starts with one small thing, and then before you know it, the lie has grown bigger and bigger. And you're right, if a mistake is not cleaned up or we don't take responsibility of our mistakes, then it has the potential to escalate into something bigger or something worse.
Mhm.
Hi Sananda, thank you for joining the conversation all the way from UK.
Hi, Sunanda.
Cool. Myself and Coach Kirubai are also in the UK, so hey.
Welcome to our platform today. Yes.
So yeah, the mistake can grow into something like much bigger.
Mhm.
So it's important for us to own up to the mistake.
Yes.
I I sort of rejigged the title you had given me, right? And I said, oh no, I made a mistake. And I was like, have you ever said that to yourself?
Mhm.
Because sometimes, like, it clocks in our minds, like you said, sometimes consciously we know it, but sometimes we even think, I've gone too far ahead
To
to come
retrieve.
back.
To retrieve.
So I'm just going to keep going and hope it gets better, but it doesn't get better.
Mm. Now, I like what you said about lying. Lying can be, it's interesting. It's like a little girl, a
Mhm.
little boy caught. Their hands are caught in the cookie jar, and then then the mom, and mom says, "Hey, I caught you red-handed." No, the cookie is not for me. It's for doggy. Doggy is
Wow.
hungry. Oh, it's the cookie is for daddy. Daddy's hungry. When when you tell a lie, then blame shifting comes.
Mm, mm,
So, you know, lie opens up a can of worms.
does.
And admitting your mistakes, it kind of, it keeps the worms in the cans, and you are facing your weaknesses and saying, hey, I said a white lie, or I made a mistake in terms of even, let's say, we are talking a lot about self leadership these days. And when we are in an office, in an environment where we work with other people, sometimes our bosses, our managers, uh, you worked in a bank and I worked in a bank. Sometimes, there are little errors that, there could be computer errors,
Mm-hmm.
human errors, or, I used to be the chief cashier, and sometimes money doesn't tally. And
Mm.
you got to be very careful, because you can't lie. You can't, what? Sometimes you're a few cents short, and then you can't take it from your pocket and put it, because couple of late days later it appears, because there's a compensating error somewhere.
Oof. Yeah.
So, you better own up. You better own up, because it will show. So owning up to your mistakes is paramount in walking through life and taking life to the next level, because when you are vulnerable,
Mm.
you also get, sometimes, you get favor and grace from your bosses when you say, I'm sorry, I made a mistake.
Yeah, I guess it depends where you work, isn't it? It depends where you work, because some places there's no grace. There's no grace given. And also it depends on the nature of the mistake. How big is the mistake? Because that can almost sometimes, because the mistake is too costly
Mm.
and someone has to
Pay for it.
pay for it, then it's a case of, sorry, you're gone.
So
So
how do
it's,
you avoid that? How do you avoid that?
how do you avoid it? Avoid making mistakes. It's a tricky one, because, like, as we're talking about it, one of the things that's coming to mind is, for example, if you're in a role of a surgeon,
Mm.
mistakes are very costly. Mistakes can cost a life.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes there's small mistakes that we make that we can get away with, but there are also mistakes that you make that can have heavy repercussions.
Mm-hmm.
If you're someone who designs stuff, let's say you design a car, a simple mistake in that design can cost a life,
Mm-hmm.
can cause an accident. So I think when it comes to the conversation of mistakes, hi Tunji, thanks for joining us.
Hi,
When it
ladies.
comes when it comes to the conversation of mistakes, it's important for us to own up sooner rather than later, to avoid this mistake escalating and exploding, should I say.
Mm-hmm.
So the sooner you're able to own up and see how you can, like when companies do a recall, like a product recall.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so being able to, because that product recall is, we found a fault.
Mm.
So bring it back. We need to fix it. We need to make it right. So when you make a mistake, I think the self leadership in you, or the leader in you, should be able to say,
Own up. Put your hands up.
I made a mistake. I'm going to take responsibility of it. I'm going to change my ways, or I'm going to, do what you need to do to correct the error. I think the problem arises when we don't want to own up to our mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
And when you don't own up to your mistakes, you're not allowing opportunity to learn
Mm-hmm.
from your mistake.
Yeah. So, viewing your mistakes as the price of progress. There is a progress that is taking place. But I like the example that you gave about a surgeon. There is no room for error. So, but that's why they ask you to sign that form when you go into surgery, to cover themselves, because when there's anything that is done manually, now you have robotic surgery.
Mm-hmm.
Even robotic surgery where the margin of error is very minute, but there might be a chance of some form of error.
Mm.
So so we thank God, we go into a surgery, and put ourselves in the hands of the surgeon, and the anesthetist, and the other doctors who are assisting him. It's by God's grace that we can come forth,
Yeah.
without any mistakes, because I can tell you, um, in the case of my husband, we there has been a prolonged, he went for surgery last November, and there's a prolonging issue that's caused and that's come through because of
Oh, wow.
there is something. It is not something matter of life and death, but something that you can work around it. But you know
Mm.
what, so we were afraid there was an error in the surgery, even though it was robotic surgery. So what we did, we went to uh, seek a second opinion, put in a camera and see. In fact, there was no error.
That's good.
That's good. Thank God for that. But his own body was taking a long time. It's like 1 year still to adjust to certain things.
Mm.
So that's beyond anybody's remedy. See, it's
Control.
something Robert has to work on. So we thank God. We thank God. But I want to talk about a very serious error that I made while I was working in the bank.
Okay.
So um, I because as I told you, that I was a chief cashier, where I was managing the tellers, and lo and behold, it was one day I was short about, after telling everyone individually, I was tallying my cash. You know, I was short by 20,000 pounds. So
Ouch.
ouch. Ouch. So I was thinking, how can it be? Sometimes even I go and sit in the counter when it is very heavy day. I sit and also receive and pay out cash, which I shouldn't do, but I try to help my try to be a hero there. So I thought maybe I paid out somebody more money, 1 person, 2 person, or 3 persons. I don't know. So end of the day, I sat down and I said, OMG, what am I going to do?
Hmm.
So I couldn't. Of course, I had to tell my manager that I'm short of 20,000. And then he didn't say anything, because sometimes 2 or 3 days later, like what I said, the compensating error might appear in the computer printout.
Mm-hmm.
But it didn't. And I was like, God, what's happening? Where am I to go for
Oh my
20,000?
days.
Yeah, it's all my days. It's like 20,000 is like 100,000 ringgit. And what happened was, and I was sitting and pondering and praying. I said, God, you must help me. My conscience, the Holy Spirit prompted to go and check physical cash in the safe. And lo and behold, one of the bundles was wrongly bundled.
Okay.
So can you imagine if somebody had come and said, I want 50,000 ringgit, which is 50,000 is 10, yeah, 10,000 pound. You would just take a whole bundle of cash and give it to them. But you would have given an extra bundle. And lo and behold, it was there. One of my tellers had wrongly bundled, and it was on me. It was my negligence. I didn't check.
Oh.
So I learned a very good lesson.
Mm-hmm.
Never take anything for granted when it comes to when it comes to money.
Very true.
So, so it was a painful lesson, but you know what? I didn't have to pay it out of my pocket because I found the error. Lesson. It is a lesson where my mistakes help me to progress better. And because of that diligent checks, I got a promotion because of that. So
What on
sometimes,
you?
yeah,
What
sometimes what is I mean, the enemy means for evil, God can turn it for your good.
on?
So that's my little story. This is a story that goes back a long, long way when I was working in the bank.
Mm-hmm. No, it's I think when we talk about this whole issue of making mistakes, and just if we were to link it to like confidence, I
Hmm.
think that when we make mistakes, it can be a knock on our confidence. But I
Definitely.
think the way to counteract it is to take responsibility, is to own up to the mistake.
Hmm.
And that can help our confidence when
Hmm.
we are able to own up to our mistake and do better, learn from the mistake, and choose to do better next time.
Hmm.
That makes a difference. That makes a difference because you can sit in the state of, oh no, I made a mistake, this is what's going to happen, and like you can predict for yourself all these negative things that are going to happen as a result of the mistake,
Mm-mm-mm.
but that's not going to solve the situation. And as leaders, or as people, we need to be people who don't just identify problems, but we're able to bring solution to problems.
Mhm.
So when you make a mistake and you recognize that there has been an error, there has been a mistake made, what's the solution that you then need to bring into it to then, take away the I guess the mess that is being created as a result of the mistake?
Mhm.
Because honestly, like, mistakes can be very costly. And like I said before, we get away a lot with simple mistakes, but in another scenario, like when you think about various different professions and just life in general, a mistake can be you, it can be very detrimental.
Mhm.
But that's not to say that we shouldn't put ourselves out there, because some people use it as an excuse to
Mm.
then say, I'm scared I'm going to make a mistake, so
Mhm.
I don't want to be upfront, I don't want to be, on stage, I don't want to be in theater, I don't want to be doing all these things because I'm scared I might make a mistake.
Mhm.
So actually, how do we, if you were to speak to someone in that place, in someone who's in that place of, I've made a mistake before and it cost me,
Mhm.
I don't want to be in that position again. So
Mhm.
I'm not going to try that experience. I'm not going to try that task. What would you say to that person?
You know, um, um, you know, uh, to to support what you're saying, I'm reminded of because I'm a foodie, KFC. How many times he tried his recipes?
Mm-hmm.
I think it was more than, if I'm not mistaken, 100 times. Or no, I think it's more than that. But he tried and he tried and he tried, and finally it became a big hit. Everybody loves Kentucky Fried Chicken. If he had not tried, he would not, I mean, we would not have Kentucky Fried Chicken. Finger licking good Kentucky Fried Chicken. No, but he tried. That failure of finding that perfect recipe didn't stop him, because
Mm.
so failure is actually, it can promote us or motivate us to become being progressive in what we want. So
So,
failure is a stepping stone. It's a
so
stepping stone.
are we defining a mistake as a failure?
I think in some ways, make failure your friend. It's one of John Maxwell's, the 5 minutes with Maxwell. That little snippets that he does. He talks about failure, making it your friend and not your
Mhm.
foe. So make failure your friend and learn from that failure. Learn, especially in the areas of relationships. Now, I love to bring relationship. The things that we are insecure about. Make it your friend. Overcome,
Mm.
and even confidence, in the area of confidence and fear. Make it your friend.
I get what you're saying, but I also want to kind of
Put a spanner into the picture.
I want to put a I was going to say I want to play devil's advocate, but I'm not going to call myself devil's advocate. That's not a term I should use for myself. But yeah, I was going to say, so if we're saying make failure your friend, yeah, because that's what you say, make failure
That's
your
right.
friend.
Yeah.
Does that mean I need to be, failing? Like I need to be embracing failure, but I don't want to fail. I don't want to be a failure.
Yes, and that's a mindset, Elizabeth. Because a lot of us, we failed in we failed in some areas of our lives, and then, again, bringing relationships. A lot of us, because we might have a failing relationship, we are afraid to take a bold step of looking for another partner, or looking for another, especially in divorce. You've really made a mistake, and yet in your heart you want to have another partner, and then you are afraid to take the bold step of faith. Business, entrepreneurial business, you fail and you fail, and sometimes you say, okay, I want to go back to the workforce. But the last chance you tried might be the breakthrough that you would have got, the straw that broke the camel's back.
Okay. I see where you're going with that. And you've got Tunji's support there. You can make failure your friend and learn. I
Yes,
see. I
thank
see.
you. I like that. Learn. We are learning every day. We are learning. We are learning every day from the time we started our conversations, confidence culture conversation, and now our topics have evolved to some serious topics. Serious topics, but you know what? Relevant topics that we need to discuss.
Hmm.
Because you and I are coaches, and we meet so many people who have hang-ups because of their failures.
We do.
Yeah, and you're a mindset coach, and you talk about mindset, and I talk about insecurities. We hold on to insecurities like the comfort blanket that we have. But you
Hmm.
know what? If we don't let go of it, learn, let go and move on, we're going to be in that same place of lack and a poverty mentality.
The failure conversation is it's an interesting one because yeah, no one wants to be seen as somebody who's failing. And so it's not that we go looking to fail, but we need to learn that failure can be part of the process to get us to good. Failure can be part of the process to get us to the place where we need to be, where we want to be, and not shying away from the fact that, okay, I might have failed. And I think something I like to remind people is that just because you have failed doesn't mean you're a failure.
That's true.
So it doesn't mean that you should go around carrying a label, wearing a label that says, hey, look at me, I'm a failure. Look at me, I'm a failure. No, that's not how that's not it. You learn the failure that happened was just a moment in time, a situation, but it is not who you are. It is not what defines you. So you don't live your life based on I fail. I always fail at things. And you mentioned mindset. There's a lot of people out there who, yes, they will call themselves a failure. They will say, I failed before and I keep failing. So I'm a failure. And to those people, like if you're one of those people and you're watching today, I just want to remind you that no, you're not a failure.
Mhm.
You failed in a situation, but that doesn't mean you are a failure.
It doesn't define you. Yeah.
That failure does not define who you are. There is more in you. You have a lot more that is going for you. So pick yourself up and try again. Give it another go. You just never know what's going to happen. I remember one time when I was working in a bank, and there was some study and some qualifications I had to get. And so I did, I read, I studied, I went and did the test, did the exam, and I failed.
Oh.
I was so embarrassed. Because, you take the day off work, you're like, I've got an exam, you take the day off work. So coming back the next day to say I have failed was not quite what I had in mind. But oh no, I had to admit that yes, I failed. I did it, I think, the second time. Did I fail the second time? I think I failed the second time. It was a multiple choice. It was by a few points. And my manager sat me down and said, look, if you don't pass it the next time, you're losing your job.
Wow.
I was like, oh, my job is on the line. This has changed. Like this has become more serious. So I put my time into revision and all of that. And thankfully, I passed the exam.
Thank God.
But there was so much pressure. There was such a weight sitting on me. And if I had stayed in that place of I'm a failure, I would not have passed it that third time. I wouldn't. Instead, at the back of my mind, I would have been worried and anxious that I'm going to fail. I'm going to fail because that is the narrative that I've now believed. It's the narrative that has become my normal. So if you keep telling yourself you're a failure, well, guess what? You're going to keep failing. So you have to get to a point where you realize that I failed yesterday, but that doesn't mean that I'm going to be a failure today or tomorrow. That is in my past now.
Yeah.
It doesn't define my future.
So didn't it motivate you to do a little bit more revision, put in a little bit more effort to study? And so,
I mean, I had to push myself.
Yes.
I had to go the extra mile. I had to take more time to do the revision. I had to make sure that I was my confidence had to be at a higher level.
That's right.
So, I mean, for me, the learning was how much more time can you give this? What things do you need to cut out so you can focus on what you need to focus on? And so sometimes there are moments in life where we have to do that, where we have to streamline, where we have to zero in on our focus and keep some things the main things.
Yeah.
And just focus on doing that, so that we can achieve what we need to achieve.
Yeah, that's a very good point, to narrow in and drop those things that don't matter and focusing on the things that matter to promote you, to progress you to the next level, and not giving up. Because when we do something, it could be part of our passion. And giving up because we have failed the first time, it's no way to embrace your passion and your dreams, because you have to push. And if the push comes to shove, you have to drop some unimportant things in your life.
That's it. That's it. And there's some people who might be watching who, you have a dream, but you're scared of failure. You've got something in front of you, but you're scared to fully run with it. You've got a vision on your vision board, but you're scared of running with it because you think you might fail. So the reality is, yes, you might fail. That's the reality. This is why, Kirubai said, make failure your friend. The reality is you might fail. It's a possibility. It's very possible. But I don't want you to hold on to that reality.
Move on.
I want you instead to hold on to a reality that says, what if I'm successful? What if I don't actually fail? You know, it's like a question we like to ask in coaching. If nothing was standing in your way and you knew you couldn't fail, what would you be doing? What dream would you be pursuing today? So, yes, the possibility of failure is there and it's staring you in the face, but don't allow that to limit you from fully grasping what it is that you really desire.
That talks about actually attitude, how you handle your mistakes, actually. How you handle your mistakes. And let those mistakes not stop you. Have the attitude of can do.
Mm-hmm.
An attitude of the possible and not the impossible.
That's it. That's it.
That's it. It's everything is within your reach and within your hands. You might have to tweak it a little bit here. You might have to tweak it a little bit there. But you know what? The end of the road is success for you.
And that's the mindset that you need to approach life with.
Yeah.
Whether you have failed 10 million times before, still keep reminding yourself, I can be successful. I will be successful. So I'm going to give it a go again.
Yes. We want to go, it's a tough climb. I mean, Elizabeth has been a coach for more than 3 years, and I have been coaching and not coaching, and there's all a tweeting that's going on. But you know what? It is a tough climb, but we are not going to give up. We are not going to give up because there is a prize there outside, and there are people that are assigned to us who are going to come to us, who have already come to us, that we need to encourage, we need to coach, we need to mentor, that has already been written on stones, I would say, people that are meant to come to you. If we give up, that means we are giving up on someone else's dream, and we are giving up our purpose and destiny. So always think that when you are in a position to touch someone's life, or your business to touch someone's life, your confidence to do something there is an end result to it, touching someone's life. Do not give up. Do not give up. Do not give up.
That's it. And you might be watching today and you're thinking, I've tried it and it has failed. And we're not pretending that doesn't happen, or we're not pretending that will not happen. But what we're saying is, don't remain in that place.
Yeah.
Get back up again.
Yes, get up.
Pick yourself up again and try one more time, because you just never know that this could be the time where you get that result that you're after. But you can't remain in the place of, I have failed, I am a failure. Look at my track record of failure. Never bring out your track record of failure. What are you doing that for? No. Remind yourself of your victories. The only reason for reminding yourself of failures is so you can see what you learned from it. But don't remind yourself of failure so you can beat yourself up. Because that's what some of us do. We then wallow in self-pity, and we have this victim mindset. But that's not where you need to be. You can win. You will win. I can, I will, I shall. Tunji, what's that thing that Eric Thomas says? I can and I will, or whatever it is. But, you've got to remind yourself that I can do this. I will do this. Failure might be staring you in the face. It might be staring you in the face. But don't allow failure to win. Don't allow failure to win. Just keep telling yourself, I can, I will, I must. I can, I will, I must. That dream, I can, I will, I must. Don't give up. Just because you failed once, twice, thrice, however many times. There are people who've had the door slammed in the face with their business ideas over 100 times. And now their business ideas are successful. They've gone global.
Mhm.
So what more you? What mistake did you make again? How much did you lose? There's some people that have lost thousands,
Yeah.
millions, and they're still going. So
Going
pick
strong.
yourself up, rise up from that place of self-pity, that place of failure, that place of seeing yourself as someone of no value, and remind yourself, dust your coat, remind yourself of who you are, look in the mirror, remind yourself of who you are, remind yourself of the value you carry, remind yourself, I can, I will, I must, and go for it. That's it.
Amen.
That's my last word.
Amen, sister. But my last word is always sit back and think, what am I missing? What is the gap that what is this gap that's every time I fail, what is the gap that is not, there's a gap there and I need to close that gap. Always reflect, and then in every other step you take, you will go further and further, and finally you will reach the pot of gold that you want. So make mistakes and failure your friend today, my friends, and learn from it. That's my last words.
That's it. But don't go out looking for mistakes, right? Don't go out looking for mistakes or focusing on failure. They say that thing that we the thing that we focus on, the thing that we magnify,
Yeah.
is the thing that we become.
It manifests in
And the Bible says, as a man thinketh in his heart,
so
so
is it.
is he.
Mm.
So don't go around thinking you're a failure or a mistake maker. Something that I like to remind people is that the God that we serve, he never makes mistakes.
I love that.
So don't you dare think that his first mistake was you. You're not a mistake.
Oh, I like that. He never made a mistake with us.
No, I think that's it for tonight, Kiruba, isn't it?
Yes, that's it for tonight, and we'll see you next week. Same time, same place on YouTube and on Facebook, on LinkedIn, and go visit our YouTubes for the replays that we have done, and we've got quite a number of various and variety of topics on confidence, always with a different spin, but boils down to confidence. So once again, have a good night, a good evening, good afternoon from us both, Elizabeth and I, on Confidence Culture Conversations.
God
Bye.
bless you.